higher you go, there's levels to this thing where the higher you go in the realms of the spirit, there's less of, it's less, I'm gonna say this, it goes past tongues. It goes past even saying hallelujah and praising God. It goes past praising and worship. It even goes past that. You can get high, so high in the realms of the spirit, that stuff is good. Even prophecy is good. Praising him is good. Worshiping is good. But that's only the basic fundamentals. The basic requirements being in the presence of God and being in the realms of the spirit. You get to a certain point where I just don't want to call out people's names, addresses, and phone numbers in the prophetic realm. That's good, that's wonderful. But the highest level of the prophetic is done in the realm of the revelator. It goes past, look at John, I was talking about this yesterday in church, that he went from disciple to an apostle to a revelator. I bet you those guys was always complaining about how John was always leaning on Jesus' bosom. Everywhere Jesus went, John went. Jesus prayed all night, early in the morning, John was right there, right by the mountain waiting on Jesus. Every 5 minutes, you always around Jesus. Apostle Peter had a big mouth. He was brash, he was kind of harsh in some ways, in some sentiments he was, but he had a position. That's good. But what he lacked was what John had. John had intimacy versus position. He was an apostle too. So out of all the people that got martyred, guess who lasted the longest? John. And the only way you can get to, what happens is John became what? The revelator. Not because God just appointed him that, but because he got it through intimacy. The highest revelations, the highest realms, the highest dimensions rather, of being in the prophetic, even in the apostleship, is being a revelator. Revelator goes past telling people names, addresses, phone numbers, even healing the sick, it goes past that. You're now entering to another dimension of the revelator realm. It is about Christ. God deals with you about himself. He shows you things in the heavenlies. He shows you things that's to come. He shows you things that so deep in the realms of the spirit, like Paul said, it's not even lawful for man to utter. Paul was somewhat a revelator too, but it went into the realm of writing the word, writing the scripture. I get that. But John was even different than Paul. John had intimacy with Christ. Intimacy with Christ will get you to the dimensions of revelating or being a revelator, not just getting revelation. You can get revelation, good God Almighty. That does not mean that you are a revelator. My God, a revelator reveals the deep, dark mysteries of heaven, the mind of God. That's what the Spirit of the Lord told me, and that's where we are now in our walk with Christ. And stay tuned, because this is part 2 of what I call the G-Spot. This is a G-Spot series. You're talking about, what does the G-Spot mean? It's the God spot. And there's things that you need to know that's going to get you in. It's awesome. Stay tuned.